The military officers at Fort Braxton thought they knew exactly who Diana Walsh was. For 19 months, she had been the invisible secretary who processed their classified documents with quiet efficiency. With her stunning blonde hair pulled back in professional style and her emerald green eyes that seemed to notice everything while revealing nothing, she moved through the base administrative offices like a ghost present, but unremarkable, skilled but forgettable. Colonel Marcus Sterling barely acknowledged her existence as she organized classified files in the secure document room. The base intelligence director was focused on discussing sensitive operations with his senior staff, reviewing classified materials that would determine which missions received approval for execution. Around them, the sterile surfaces of the military administrative facility reflected the bright fluorescent lighting that cast sharp shadows across their faces. "The new document security protocols are comprehensive," Colonel Sterling said to Major Hayes, his voice carrying the authority of someone accustomed to handling the nation's most sensitive information. "Every classified file processing procedure has been refined to ensure maximum security with minimum access points." Diana moved silently between filing cabinets, organizing documents and preparing secure communications. Her hands worked with practiced efficiency, but her emerald green eyes tracked every conversation, every classified operation briefly discussed, every security protocol casually reviewed. She had perfected the art of being invisible, a skill that had served her well during her 19-month assignment at the Army's premier intelligence processing facility. Lieutenant Colonel Martinez glanced up from his classified briefing materials as she approached to file newly processed documents. "Thanks, Walsh," he said absently, already turning back to his conversation about covert operations logistics. To him, she was simply part of the background, as unremarkable as the filing cabinets and security equipment that surrounded them. The morning routine continued with clockwork precision. Officers arrived, conducted their classified briefings, discussed sensitive operations, and departed for their duties overseeing the intelligence gathering that protected America's military interests worldwide. Diana served them all with the same quiet efficiency, her presence so consistently unremarkable that she had become virtually invisible to the most security-conscious personnel in the military intelligence system. "Walsh, the classified document vault needs additional security verification," called Senior Administrative Specialist Johnson from behind her workstation. The senior civilian coordinator, who supervised document processing operations, treated her with professional courtesy, but like the others, she saw only what Diana allowed her to see, a competent secretary who kept her head down and did her job without complaint. Diana nodded and gathered her security access materials, moving toward the vault where the military's most sensitive documents were stored under the highest security protocols. As she worked, she moved beneath the watchful eyes of intelligence personnel whose expertise represented the pinnacle of military information security, each conversation providing insights into operations that could mean the difference between mission success and catastrophic failure. In the communications processing area, she assisted with routine document handling while overhearing discussions about upcoming deployment intelligence preparations, covert operation protocols, and classified surveillance training exercises. The military officers spoke freely around her, treating her presence as they would any other piece of office infrastructure. "The new covert operations protocols require enhanced document security capabilities," one senior intelligence officer was explaining to his staff. "If classified information is compromised during sensitive operations, our ability to protect field operatives depends entirely on the security measures we implement here." Diana updated filing systems, but her trained mind cataloged the security vulnerabilities being discussed. These conversations, seemingly routine to the participants, formed patterns that revealed operational weaknesses she had been sent to identify and assess. Colonel Sterling's voice carried across the administrative area as he briefed two visiting Pentagon intelligence specialists. "Fort Braxton's document processing facility represents the pinnacle of military intelligence security and classified information handling. Our security protocols are absolutely impenetrable, especially during high-sensitivity operations processing." Diana finished updating classified files and moved toward the document preparation area, where she began organizing materials with the same methodical precision she brought to everything else. But behind her unremarkable exterior, she processed the colonel's confident assertion about impenetrable security, knowing from her observations that several critical vulnerabilities existed in their procedures. The administrative facility operated like a precision intelligence instrument during the morning processing sessions. Diana worked alongside 6 other civilian administrative staff, all of whom had been thoroughly vetted by Army intelligence security. None of them knew that the quiet blonde woman organizing classified documents beside them possessed military qualifications and operational experience that exceeded those of most officers in the facility. "Walsh, you're assigned to the Special Operations Document Review tomorrow," Senior Specialist Johnson announced. "Pentagon intelligence will be observing, along with several general officers. All security procedures need to be flawless." Diana acknowledged the assignment with a simple nod. High-level document reviews always involve discussions of the highest classification levels, exactly the kind of intelligence-gathering opportunity she had been positioned to exploit. For 19 months, she had been building a comprehensive profile of vulnerabilities in the Army's most critical information security operations. As the morning activities concluded and the facility entered its brief lull before afternoon classified processing, Diana cleaned her workstation with the same attention to detail she applied to every task. Around her, the other administrative staff discussed weekend plans and family obligations, normal conversations that reinforced her carefully constructed cover identity. Senior Specialist Johnson approached her desk, reviewing the Special Operations document schedule. "The review begins at 0900 tomorrow," she said. "All administrative personnel need to be in position by 0830 for final security preparation." Diana had been preparing for this document review for months. She knew the procedures, the security protocols, the placement of every specialist and reviewer. Each detail provided another opportunity to observe and document the vulnerabilities that governed the Army's most critical intelligence processing operations. The afternoon brought specialized document handling training, with administrative teams reviewing protocols for processing multiple classified operations simultaneously. Diana participated in these preparations while continuing to gather intelligence about procedures and vulnerabilities that might not be apparent during routine operations. During the evening shift, Diana worked in the secure communications area, preparing classified message traffic for tomorrow's Special Operations Review. The communications facility was state-of-the-art, designed to handle the most sensitive intelligence that military special operations units might encounter during classified deployments. As she organized communication protocols, Diana overheard conversations between senior intelligence coordinators about the specific security challenges planned for tomorrow's review. The discussions revealed that the assessment would include classified document handling tests, security breach simulations, and evaluation of personnel responses to intelligence compromises. The document security component will separate the truly qualified from those who merely meet minimum standards, one coordinator was explaining to his team. "We're looking for personnel who can maintain operational security while processing complex classified information under extreme pressure." Diana processed this information while continuing her communication preparation. The security requirements being discussed were significantly more demanding than standard military intelligence protocols, suggesting that tomorrow's review was designed to identify personnel capable of handling the most sensitive special operations intelligence. Senior Specialist Johnson approached the communications area where Diana was working. "Walsh, the document review tomorrow will require additional security clearance verification. Your current authorization level makes you valuable backup support for classified processing." Diana acknowledged the assignment, though she found the irony of the situation significant. Her security clearance, listed in her cover identity personnel file, represented only a fraction of her actual operational authorization levels. The classified access she had been granted during her actual military service far exceeded anything required for administrative support duties. At 0830 hours, an urgent security alert sounded throughout the military base. Diana looked up from her pre-review document preparations as the public address system crackled to life with an announcement that would escalate the day's activities beyond routine processing. "All personnel maintain current security postures. This is a planned exercise. Repeat, this is a planned security exercise. Enhanced security protocols are now in effect." The administrative facility immediately shifted into heightened security mode as staff and officers implemented procedures designed for handling sensitive operations during potential threat conditions. Diana watched from behind her workstation as the most senior military intelligence personnel activated protocols she had observed, but never seen fully implemented. Colonel Sterling's voice carried across the facility as he coordinated with his security staff. "All classified document processing is to continue under enhanced protocols. The Pentagon review proceeds as scheduled, but with additional security measures in place." Diana felt her operational awareness sharpen as she processed the developing situation. Enhanced security protocols during high-level reviews represented one of the most challenging scenarios possible for intelligence processing facilities. The combination of increased scrutiny and heightened security created conditions where vulnerabilities might become apparent to trained observers. Senior Specialist Johnson appeared at workstations throughout the facility, her demeanor more serious than usual. All administrative staff are to maintain normal duties while implementing enhanced security awareness, she announced. The exercise will test our ability to process classified materials under challenging conditions. Diana nodded along with the other staff members, but her mind was already analyzing the implications of the security exercise. 19 months of intelligence gathering had given her intimate knowledge of the facility's security procedures, and she understood that enhanced protocols would reveal both strengths and weaknesses in their operational security. Through the facility's reinforced windows, she could see additional security personnel taking positions around the administrative building. Military police established checkpoint procedures, while intelligence security specialists monitored all access points to the classified document processing areas. The public address system provided periodic updates about the exercise parameters. All personnel with Special Operations document clearance report to designated secure areas. Enhanced security verification procedures are now in effect for all classified material handling. Diana's training activated as she heard the specific terminology being used. Special Operations document clearance represented the most restrictive access levels in military intelligence, requiring personnel with extensive background investigations and operational experience. Colonel Sterling's voice echoed from the Secure Communications Center, his words carrying clearly through the facility's internal systems. We need personnel who understand advanced classified document security protocols. The standard processing procedures may not be sufficient for this exercise's requirements. Diana recognized the challenge being described. Advanced classified document security protocols required specialized knowledge gained through extensive experience with sensitive intelligence operations, the kind of expertise that was carefully documented in restricted personnel files. Where's Major Rodriguez, our Special Operations document specialist? Colonel Sterling's voice demanded over the communications system. We need his expertise for the enhanced security processing. The response came back with obvious concern. Sir, Major Rodriguez is attending classified training off base. He's unavailable for at least 48 hours. We're trying to locate other personnel with advanced document security experience. Diana realized that the facility might not have anyone immediately available with the specific knowledge needed to handle the most sensitive document processing under enhanced security conditions. Advanced classified protocols required expertise developed through direct involvement with Special Operations intelligence, skills that few administrative personnel possessed. Senior Specialist Johnson appeared again, her expression showing the stress of the developing exercise complications. All staff are to assist where needed, she announced, though her voice carried undertones of uncertainty. The situation requires maximum cooperation from all personnel. But Diana knew from her extensive observation that the facility's qualified Special Operations document personnel were either unavailable or already committed to other critical security duties. The enhanced exercise was testing capabilities that might exceed the immediate expertise of available staff. The security exercise continued to escalate over the next hour, as additional complications were introduced to test the facility's response capabilities. Diana listened to the communications traffic, her training allowing her to understand the intelligence security details that most administrative personnel would find overwhelming. Multiple classified document security challenges were being implemented simultaneously. The enhanced protocols were revealing gaps in standard procedures, and the advanced processing requirements demanded expertise with Special Operations intelligence that few staff members possessed. At 09:45 hours, the situation reached a critical point. Colonel Sterling's voice over the facility communications carried a note of mounting pressure. We have multiple classified document processing requirements that exceed our current security capabilities. If we cannot implement advanced protocols, the exercise evaluation will reflect significant deficiencies. Diana understood the implications better than anyone else in the administrative area. Failing the security exercise would reflect poorly on the facility's readiness to handle actual intelligence crises, potentially affecting the base's role in future Special Operations support. The morning had revealed systematic weaknesses in document security procedures that could be exploited by hostile intelligence services. The exercise was designed to identify these vulnerabilities, but it was also exposing the facility's dependence on specialized personnel who might not always be available during actual emergencies. Senior Specialist Johnson approached Diana's workstation with obvious concern. "Walsh, do you have any experience with enhanced classified document protocols beyond your current clearance level?" she asked, her professional composure showing strain under the exercise pressure. Diana paused in her document organization, considering her response carefully. For 19 months she had maintained perfect cover while observing the facility's operations and security procedures. The question represented an opportunity to provide assistance that could resolve the exercise challenges, but it would also require revealing capabilities that her cover identity shouldn't possess. "I have some familiarity with advanced security procedures," she replied cautiously, maintaining her professional demeanor while providing a carefully measured response that revealed minimal information about her actual qualifications. Johnson's expression brightened slightly. "Any assistance you can provide would be valuable. The exercise requirements are beyond our standard processing capabilities, and we need all available expertise." Diana realized that the moment for decision had arrived. The security exercise had created exactly the type of crisis she had been positioned to observe and assess, but it had also revealed her ability to provide assistance that could prevent the facility from failing its evaluation. She made a choice that would permanently alter her 19-month cover mission. Moving with deliberate purpose, Diana walked toward the secure communications station where Colonel Sterling was coordinating the exercise response. Her movement caught the attention of administrative staff who had worked beside her for months without suspecting her true qualifications. "Colonel," she said, her voice carrying authority that had been carefully concealed for 19 months, "I believe I can assist with the advanced classified document security requirements." Colonel Sterling turned toward her, his expression showing surprise at being addressed directly by someone he had barely noticed during routine operations. "Miss Walsh, isn't it? What kind of assistance are you suggesting?" Diana felt the weight of her decision as she prepared to reveal capabilities that would end her cover mission but potentially resolve the exercise crisis. "Sir, I have experience with special operations document security protocols that might be applicable to the current requirements." The claim immediately drew the attention of everyone within hearing range, as administrative staff and intelligence officers alike recognized the significance of what she was suggesting. Special operations document security represented some of the most advanced and restricted expertise in military intelligence. Colonel Sterling studied Diana with new attention, his expression shifting from casual dismissal to professional interest. "Miss Walsh, special operations document security is highly classified. How exactly did you acquire experience with these protocols?" Diana hesitated for a moment, knowing that her next words would irreversibly compromise her cover identity. "Colonel, I served in a special operations capacity before transitioning to civilian administrative work. My clearances were downgraded for this assignment, but my knowledge of advanced security procedures remains current." The statement created an immediate stir among the personnel gathered in the communications area. Administrative staff who had worked alongside Diana for months exchanged glances of surprise and confusion, while intelligence officers began reassessing their assumptions about the quiet secretary who had processed their documents without drawing attention. Senior Specialist Johnson approached with obvious bewilderment. "Diana, you never mentioned any military background during your orientation or security interviews. How is it possible that such significant experience wasn't reflected in your personnel file?" Diana met her colleague's gaze steadily, recognizing that further explanation would be required, but also understanding the operational security constraints that limited what she could reveal. "My previous assignments were classified at levels that required compartmentalized personnel records. Only essential information was included in my current administrative file." Colonel Sterling's expression had shifted to one of intense curiosity mixed with professional skepticism. "Miss Walsh, if what you're suggesting is accurate, then your presence here represents either a significant administrative error or something more deliberate. Which is it?" The question hung in the air as Diana weighed her response options. 19 months of carefully maintained cover identity had brought her to this moment of decision, where continuing the deception would mean allowing the exercise to fail, while revealing the truth would expose the intelligence-gathering mission she had been conducting. She reached into her purse to retrieve her identification materials, ostensibly to provide additional documentation for the colonel's review. As she opened the leather portfolio that contained her administrative credentials, a small metallic object that had been carefully concealed for 19 months worked loose from its hidden compartment. The Army Special Forces tab fell onto the polished floor of the communications center with a distinctive metallic sound that seemed to echo through the suddenly quiet facility. The small green and black insignia, lay clearly visible against the white tile, its meaning immediately recognizable to anyone with military experience. Senior Specialist Johnson stared at the fallen tab in shock, her understanding of everything she thought she knew about Diana completely shattered. Around the communications center, other staff members and intelligence officers watched in stunned silence as the significance of the discovery began to register. Colonel Sterling stepped forward and bent to retrieve the Special Forces tab, examining it closely before looking up at Diana with an expression that mixed amazement with growing comprehension. "This is an authentic Special Forces qualification tab," he said quietly, "and it's not the kind of item that someone acquires accidentally." Diana stood perfectly still under the colonel's intense scrutiny, her decision made but its consequences still unfolding. For 19 months she had maintained the facade of an ordinary administrative worker while conducting intelligence gathering that had identified numerous security vulnerabilities in the facility's operations. "Colonel," she said finally, her voice carrying the quiet authority she had kept hidden for so long, "I am Staff Sergeant Diana Walsh, United States Army Special Forces, currently assigned to a classified assessment mission under operational security protocols that I am not authorized to discuss in detail." The revelation transformed the atmosphere in the communications center as personnel struggled to process the implications of what they had just learned. The quiet secretary who had processed their documents and organized their files for 19 months was revealed to be a highly trained special operations soldier whose presence represented purposes none of them had suspected. Lieutenant Colonel Martinez, who had barely acknowledged Diana's existence for months, stepped forward with obvious bewilderment. "Sergeant Walsh, if that's your actual rank and assignment, then your role here has been far more complex than any of us realized. What exactly has been the nature of your mission?" Diana straightened her posture, allowing the professional bearing she had carefully suppressed to become visible for the first time since her arrival at Fort Braxton. The transformation was subtle, but unmistakable, as 19 months of deliberate invisibility gave way to the confident presence of a trained special operations professional. "Colonel Sterling, my mission has been to conduct a comprehensive security assessment of classified document processing procedures and personnel security awareness protocols," she explained, her voice carrying the clear, measured tone of someone accustomed to delivering sensitive briefings. The assessment required extended observation under deep cover to identify vulnerabilities that conventional security reviews might miss. The explanation immediately clarified numerous small inconsistencies that intelligence personnel had noticed but dismissed over the months of Diana's assignment. Her exceptional attention to detail, her intuitive understanding of security protocols, and her ability to anticipate operational requirements suddenly made sense when viewed through the lens of her actual qualifications and mission parameters. Senior Specialist Johnson found her voice, though her tone reflected the shock of discovering that her most reliable administrative assistant possessed capabilities far beyond anything she had imagined. "Diana, Sergeant Walsh, for 19 months you've had access to our most sensitive operations while we believed you were simply processing routine administrative documents." Diana nodded, understanding the security implications that her revelation had created for everyone present. "My clearances and access authorizations were legitimate, though maintained under operational security protocols that concealed their true scope. Every document I processed, every conversation I observed, every procedure I participated in was conducted within appropriate authorization parameters." Colonel Sterling studied the Special Forces tab he still held, his expression reflecting the rapid reassessment he was conducting about Diana's presence and capabilities. "Sergeant Walsh, Special Forces personnel undergo extensive training in intelligence gathering, unconventional warfare, and classified operations security. Your assessment of our procedures must be comprehensive." Diana met his gaze steadily, recognizing that her cover mission had reached its conclusion, but that her specialized knowledge could still serve the facility's immediate needs. "Sir, my assessment has identified several significant security vulnerabilities in document processing protocols, personnel security awareness, and operational security procedures. More immediately relevant to the current exercise, I can implement the advanced security measures needed to meet the evaluation requirements." The offer immediately drew the attention of everyone in the communications center, as it represented a potential solution to the exercise challenges that had been overwhelming the facility's normal capabilities. Colonel Sterling's expression shifted from shock to professional calculation as he weighed the implications of accepting assistance from someone whose true mission had been concealed for 19 months. "Sergeant Walsh," he said finally, "setting aside the questions about your cover assignment for the moment, Can you actually resolve the advanced security protocol requirements that are currently beyond our staff capabilities?" Diana's response came without hesitation, reflecting confidence born of extensive training and operational experience. "Yes, sir. I can implement special operations security protocols that will exceed the exercise requirements while ensuring complete protection of classified materials under the enhanced threat conditions being simulated." Lieutenant Colonel Martinez stepped forward, his earlier dismissive attitude completely replaced by professional respect and curiosity. "Sergeant, your knowledge of our operations and procedures, combined with your Special Forces training, must provide unique insights into our security strengths and weaknesses." Diana acknowledged his observation with a slight nod. "The assessment has been thorough, sir. 19 months of observation has revealed both significant capabilities and critical vulnerabilities in the facility's operations." Colonel Sterling made his decision with a rapid judgment that had earned him his command position. "Sergeant Walsh, I'm authorizing you to implement whatever security measures are necessary to successfully complete this exercise. We'll address the larger questions about your mission and assessment findings after we've demonstrated our capabilities to the Pentagon evaluation team." Diana immediately moved toward the secure document processing systems, her movements reflecting the practiced efficiency of someone intimately familiar with classified operations security. The transformation was remarkable as administrative staff and intelligence officers watched her navigate complex security protocols with expertise that clearly exceeded anything they had previously observed. Beginning implementation of Special Operations Document Security Protocols, she announced, her voice carrying the confident authority of someone accustomed to handling the military's most sensitive information under the most challenging conditions. Her hands moved across security interfaces with practiced precision, implementing advanced protection measures that went far beyond the facility's standard procedures. Each security enhancement represented specialized knowledge gained through training and operational experience that few personnel possessed outside of elite special operations units. The facility's security systems responded to Diana's interventions with immediate and dramatic improvements in operational capability. Advanced encryption protocols activated, document processing speeds increased while maintaining enhanced protection levels, and security monitoring systems began providing real-time threat assessment that had been previously unavailable. Security enhancement complete. Diana reported as multiple classified document processing stations came online with capabilities that exceeded the exercise requirements. All systems now operating under Special Operations Security Protocols, with full protection against simulated threat scenarios. Colonel Sterling observed the transformed security posture with obvious admiration for both the technical achievements and the expertise required to implement such comprehensive improvements. "Sergeant Walsh, these security enhancements are extraordinary. Our facility's capability has been upgraded beyond anything I thought possible with existing equipment." Diana continued monitoring the security systems, making minor adjustments to optimize performance while maintaining the advanced protection levels. "Sir, the equipment capabilities were always present. The limiting factor was personnel with the specialized knowledge required to access and implement the advanced security features." The observation carried obvious implications about the facility's previous operations and the potential that had been unrealized due to knowledge gaps among regular staff. Lieutenant Colonel Martinez studied the enhanced security displays with growing appreciation for the capabilities that had been dormant within their own systems. "The Pentagon evaluation team should be impressed," he commented, watching as classified document processing proceeded at speeds and security levels that far exceeded their previous performance metrics. These capabilities demonstrate readiness for the most demanding special operations support requirements. As the exercise continued, it became clear that Diana's security implementations had not only resolved the immediate challenges, but had elevated the facility's performance to levels that impressed even the visiting Pentagon specialists. The enhanced security protocols provided protection against threats that conventional measures could not address, while processing efficiency increased dramatically. Senior Specialist Johnson approached Diana's position at the Central Security Console, her expression reflecting a mixture of professional respect and personal bewilderment. "Diana, watching you work with these systems is like seeing them operated by someone who designed them. How long have you possessed this level of expertise?" Diana looked up from the security monitoring displays, considering how much information she could appropriately share about her background and training. "My Special Forces qualification included extensive training in classified communications and document security systems. The expertise develops through operational necessity during sensitive assignments. The explanation provided some context while maintaining operational security about specific missions and training details that remained classified. Colonel Sterling, observing the exchange, recognized the careful balance Diana was maintaining between transparency and security requirements. "Sergeant Walsh," he said, approaching the console where she continued monitoring the enhanced security systems. "Your performance during this exercise has been exceptional, but it's also raised numerous questions about your assignment here and the nature of your assessment mission." Diana saved her current security configuration and turned to face the colonel directly. "Sir, my mission parameters included provisions for exactly this type of situation. When operational requirements demanded revealing specialized capabilities to prevent mission failure, I was authorized to adjust my cover as necessary." The statement suggested that her superiors had anticipated the possibility that circumstances might require exposing her true qualifications and mission parameters. Colonel Sterling nodded slowly, recognizing the operational complexity involved in maintaining long-term cover assignments within active military facilities. "What happens now?" he asked. "Do you return to your administrative duties, or does your revealed status change your assignment parameters?" Diana's expression suggested that she had been preparing for this question throughout her 19-month assignment. "Sir, that decision will be made by my chain of command based on the assessment results and current operational requirements. My immediate responsibility is completing the security protocols needed for successful exercise conclusion." At 11:47 hours, the security exercise reached its planned conclusion with the facility demonstrating capabilities that exceeded all evaluation criteria. The Pentagon assessment team expressed strong satisfaction with the performance levels achieved, particularly noting the advanced security implementations that had been deployed during the enhanced threat scenarios. Colonel Sterling received the preliminary evaluation results with obvious pride in his facility's performance, though he understood that Diana's interventions had been crucial to achieving the exceptional scores. The success would reflect positively on the base's readiness for special operations support missions, potentially leading to expanded responsibilities and resources. "Outstanding performance across all evaluation categories," he announced to the assembled staff. "The facility has demonstrated readiness for the most demanding classified document processing requirements." Diana quietly secured the security system she had implemented, ensuring that the enhanced capabilities would remain available for future operations while protecting the specialized knowledge that had made their deployment possible. The aftermath of the security exercise brought significant changes to Fort Braxton's administrative facility, as personnel struggled to process the revelations about Diana's true identity and mission. The quiet secretary who had worked alongside them for 19 months was revealed to be a highly trained special operations professional whose assessment would reshape the facility's security procedures. Diana spent the following hours in detailed debriefing sessions with Colonel Sterling and visiting Pentagon officials, providing comprehensive analysis of the security vulnerabilities she had identified during her extended observation period. Her report detailed numerous instances where classified information had been discussed casually, security protocols had been bypassed for convenience, and operational details had been revealed through assumptions about administrative personnel clearance levels. "Your assessment findings are both troubling and valuable," Colonel Sterling acknowledged during one of their private discussions. "The security gaps you've identified could have been exploited by hostile intelligence services, potentially compromising sensitive operations worldwide." Diana's report recommended comprehensive updates to document processing protocols, enhanced personnel security awareness training, and procedures for identifying and protecting against long-term covert observation operations. Her 19 months of invisible assessment had revealed vulnerabilities that conventional security reviews had consistently missed. Senior Specialist Johnson requested a personal meeting with Diana before any decisions were made about her future assignment. They met in the same office where Diana had maintained her cover identity for 19 months, but now their conversation occurred with complete honesty about her true qualifications and mission parameters. 19 months, Johnson said, still processing the revelation. "You processed our most sensitive documents, observed our security procedures, listened to our classified discussions. What did you think of our operations?" Diana considered the question carefully, recognizing the personal and professional concerns underlying it. "Johnson, I observed dedicated personnel performing critical intelligence missions under demanding circumstances. The vulnerabilities I identified weren't the result of negligence or incompetence, but of human nature in familiar operational environments." Johnson nodded slowly, beginning to understand the broader implications of Diana's assessment. "Will there be others?" Other Special Forces personnel assigned to conduct similar assessments at other facilities? Diana's slight smile suggested that such operational security details were beyond what she could appropriately discuss. Effective security depends on multiple layers of protection, both visible and invisible. Over the following days, Diana's assessment report became the foundation for comprehensive security improvements throughout the base's intelligence operations. Her recommendations were implemented immediately, establishing new protocols that would significantly enhance protection of classified materials and operational security awareness among all personnel. Colonel Sterling offered Diana the opportunity to remain at Fort Braxton in an official Special Forces advisor capacity, recognizing the value of her expertise and familiarity with the facility's operations. Your knowledge of our procedures, combined with your Special Forces qualifications, would make you invaluable for implementing and maintaining the security improvements your assessment has identified. Diana considered the offer carefully, weighing her personal preferences against operational requirements and career objectives. Sir, I appreciate the opportunity, but I believe my effectiveness here has been compromised by the necessary revelation of my true identity and capabilities. The assessment mission was successful precisely because of the anonymity that can no longer be maintained. Her reasoning was sound from both operational and practical perspectives. The success of her intelligence gathering had depended on her ability to observe normal operations without influencing behavior through her presence. Once her capabilities and mission were known, personnel would inevitably modify their actions and discussions when she was present. Colonel Sterling accepted her decision with professional understanding, though he clearly regretted losing access to her specialized expertise. Where will your next assignment take you, Sergeant Walsh? Diana's expression suggested that such information remained classified, though her response provided some general context. Special Forces personnel are deployed where their specialized skills can best serve operational requirements. The assessment experience here will inform future assignments that require similar intelligence-gathering capabilities. 3 weeks after the security exercise that had ended her cover mission, Diana Walsh departed Fort Braxton with the same lack of fanfare that had characterized her arrival 19 months earlier. The administrative staff who had worked alongside her during her cover assignment gathered to bid farewell to someone they were still learning to understand and appreciate. You changed how we think about security and operational awareness, Senior Specialist Johnson observed during the informal farewell gathering. Even though we didn't know who you really were, your influence made us all more professional and conscientious. Diana accepted the compliment with genuine appreciation, recognizing that her mission had succeeded not only in gathering intelligence, but in subtly improving the facility's operational culture through her example and quiet leadership. As her transportation arrived to carry her to the next phase of her military career, Diana reflected on the lessons learned during 19 months of invisible service. The experience had demonstrated that effective security assessment required patience, careful observation, and the ability to maintain professional standards while gathering intelligence that could protect national interests. Her departure left behind enhanced security procedures, improved operational awareness, and a facility better prepared to handle the most sensitive intelligence requirements. The mission had proven that the most effective assessments often came from the least expected sources, conducted by professionals whose greatest strength was their ability to remain unseen until operational requirements demanded they step forward and reveal their true capabilities. 6 months later, Colonel Sterling received periodic reports about security improvements implemented at similar facilities throughout the military intelligence community. Many of the enhancements reflected recommendations that had originated from Diana's comprehensive assessment, suggesting that her work at Fort Braxton had influenced security procedures far beyond their single installation. The empty desk where Diana had worked for 19 months was eventually assigned to a new administrative specialist, but Colonel Sterling found himself occasionally wondering whether the replacement might also possess hidden qualifications and undisclosed mission parameters. Diana's revelation had permanently changed his understanding of personnel security and the possibility that critical expertise might be concealed within seemingly ordinary assignments. The Special Forces tab that had fallen from Diana's purse was eventually framed and displayed in the facility's security office, serving as a reminder that military effectiveness often depended on professionals who served without recognition until duty required them to reveal their true capabilities. Below it, a small plaque bore the inscription, "In recognition of those who serve in silence until mission requirements demand they step into the light,